Hello, everybody, and welcome to our English Grammar Masterclass lessons. We've been looking at topics like subject-verb agreements and verbs and adjectives, and now we are heading into the tenses. So if this is something that you would like to practice, maybe with your upcoming IELTS exam, then these are great lessons to go through 2 tenses in one video. And we'll look at if there's any similarities, if there are any differences, and how we can use both of them in our IELTS exam, either in the speaking or the writing. So if that sounds good to you, then stick around for today, and we are going to start by looking at the present simple. So this is the present, which means now, if you like, and the simple tense. Okay, so what is the present simple used for? Let's think about this to start off with. Okay, so we use the present simple to describe actions, habits, facts, or general truths that are regularly occurring or exist in the present. So, as we said, the present is now, something that's happening, and actions, habits, facts, or truths. We'll go through each of these in its own section so you can see some examples for each. Okay, so we're going to look at a formula now, almost like a maths equation. And how is the present simple formed? Well, we want our subject, so either I, you, it, he, she, they, we, any subject, and then the base form of the verb. So this is the verb before it's been changed, if you like. So the infinitive, say to write, that's the infinitive form. Write would be the base form of the verb. So we use I write, for example. We'll have a look at this in detail. So we've got the verb to be here in a nice chart, so you can see how we use this. So the verb to be in the present simple, if the subject is I, you can say I am, and the contracted form, which is very common in speech and writing, I'm, with that apostrophe there. And that's I and am meshed together, if you like. You, and then be becomes are. You are, your, with that R-E at the end of you, the apostrophe. He, she, it is. That becomes he's, she's, its. You, we, they, which are the plural subjects, that then switches to are again. So it's the same as the you before, which is the singular you, but we still say you are, whether it's singular or plural. And the contraction of that last line, it becomes your, we're, their. So you can see how the verb to be acts in the present simple. Okay, so hopefully you're comfortable with the verb to be. Maybe you've seen this before, a chart like this. So let's think about actions, present simple. You could say, I play tennis every Saturday. I being the subject and play being the base form of the verb. Now we move to she. She reads a book before bedtime. Now the verb has an S on the end, but nevertheless it has that S on the end because it's matching the subject. Remember in our subject-verb agreement, the verb always has to match. But nevertheless, it's still the base form of the verb. We haven't changed the tense of the verb or modified it. We've just made it match to the subject there. And another I study after school. Okay, so present simple is fairly straightforward, I would say, as a tense. It's not too complex to remember. And as you can see here, as long as you've got the subject and the verb matching the subject in its base form, then I think you can be pretty confident with this one. Okay, another situation scenario which you can use the present simple is when talking about habits. Okay, so this time we have we, plural subject. We usually have dinner at 7 p.m. So we've got a modifier there between we and have, but yes, nevertheless we can still see that the verb matches the subject. We usually have dinner at 7 p.m. He brushes his teeth twice a day. So the verb matching the subject he there. And the last one, she listens to music while commuting. So these are habits, things that you do basically every day, I would say. And that is definitely something you can talk about in the present simple. Okay, what next? You can talk about facts, things that are real and set in stone. So a fact here, water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. That is just scientific fact there. The Earth orbits the Sun. So we've got the S added to the end of the verb for orbits and boils to match the subject there. Okay, and another fact, the jungle is very humid. Okay, so these are things that are just scientifically true, if you like. Alright, so let's look at the present simple and how you can form a negative. So, in order to form a negative, you want to add do not before the base form of the verb. For subjects like I, you, we, and they. Or does not before the base form for the subjects he, she, and it. Okay, so you've got do not and does not depending on the subject. Let's have a look at this in action. I don't play football. So we've got the affirmative, the positive, which would be I play football. However, you can see that red don't in the middle of the subject and the verb now to make the negative. So now we've got the subject he. So don't becomes doesn't. He doesn't like action films. You can also say does not as well. Another one, they don't care for watching TV. Okay, so you can see how, depending on the subject, you either use do not, don't, or does not, doesn't. Okay, so what do we do here? Well, we want to add do at the start of the sentence for the subjects I, you, we, they. And we want to add does at the start of the sentence for he, she, and it. Let's have a look at this in action. Do you play table tennis? Does he like Dungeons and Dragons? Do we want to go out later? Okay, so again, you're just making sure that the do and the does matches the subject there. So that's just a rule to learn really off by heart in order to make sure that this is matching. Lovely. Okay, so that was the present simple. So hopefully that's clear how we use the present simple. It's quite straightforward in terms of compared to other tenses. So we're staying in the present now, but we are moving to the present continuous. Okay, so what is the present continuous used for? Well, it's got two names, the present continuous tense, also the present progressive tense. And it's used to describe actions that are happening at the moment of speaking or around the present time. So it's almost like there's a circle around right now, a little circle, and you can be a bit flexible and talk about a bit before now or a bit after now, but as long as it's generally around the present, then that's the most important thing. And it's continuous, so it's all about emphasizing the ongoing nature of an action. This is important to remember, the ongoing aspect. Okay, how is it formed? Well, it's a bit more complicated than the present simple. So it's formed by using the present tense of the verb to be. So we're thinking am, is, are, depending on the subject. And the present participle, which is the base form of the verb plus ing of the main verb. Okay, so let's have a look at our equation. We've got the subject at the start, then our form of the verb to be in the present form, so either am, is, or are, the main verb plus that ing. And we'll see this in action because I know that this is a bit overwhelming initially when you see this equation, but I think you'll recognize it when it's in examples. So let's now just take a quick moment to focus on the present participle. And what exactly do we mean when we talk about the present participle? Well, it's a word that is derived from a verb, and it can be used as an adjective and to form the continuous verb tenses. So it's sort of multifaceted, if you like, but it's important to use this with the continuous tenses because it reflects that ongoing nature. And it's formed by simply adding ing to the base form of the verb. So any verb that you have, write becomes writing, read becomes reading. We'll see this in action now. Okay, so the base form, walk, the present participle becomes walking. Eat, present participle becomes eating. And here we have an example of that verb plus ing with the to be verb as well. So you could say, I am reading, you are reading, he, she, it is reading, you, we, they are reading. Okay, so just something to be aware of, that the present participle is being used here. Okay, back to the present continuous. Let's look at some affirmative examples, some positive examples here. I am studying for my exams. So we have our subject, I, am, our form of to be that matches the subject, always so important, subject-verb agreement. Then the main verb, I know that to be is a verb, but then we have the main verb, studying. Study is the base form, then that ing makes it the present participle there. Okay, so hopefully you can see all those different aspects. Another one, she is reading a book. Here we go, so that ing reflects that ongoing nature. They are playing football. So in all of these examples, to be is matching the subject, and then the verb has that present participle ing. And you can see that all of them are in the now. So even if this isn't happening right at this second, in general, these subjects are doing these things. So I'm studying for my exams. Well, you might not be studying right now, this very moment of speaking, but in general, you might be. Okay, so how do we form negatives? Well, we want to put our word not after the verb to be, but before the main verb. So we'll see this in action. I am not watching TV right now. So we have am being the form of the verb to be, and then we want to put not after. He is not working on the project at the moment. We are not going to the party. So this works for all subjects. You don't have to worry about whether they're singular or plural. You can put not in the after the verb to be here for the present continuous. Okay, so there's a few rules for this. You can begin the sentence with am for the subject I, is for he, she, it, and are for we, you, they. Okay, so let's see this in action now. Are you listening to me? Is she cooking dinner? What are they doing? Okay, so you can see how we can form questions using the present continuous. And now for the last part of the video, let's take a real zoom in on the IELTS exam and focus on some aspects that can really help you with your preparation. So let's go back to the present simple, like what we've been talking about. And let's think about a speaking example. So an examiner might ask you, tell me about your daily routine. I usually wake up around 7 a.m. After that, I have a quick breakfast, which typically consists of cereal and coffee. Then I commute to work by bus. I spend the majority of my day at the office, where I complete various tasks. In the evening, I like to relax by reading a book or watching a movie before going to bed at around 10 p.m. Okay, so the subject here was I all throughout because that's where obviously the examiner is asking an individual here, so I. And then I've just highlighted the base form of the verbs in green. So you can see lots of present simple here because you're talking about routines, habits, things that you do every day. Okay, let's go on to another example and let's see if you can spot the present simple here. So discuss the role of technology in modern society. And the example answer: in today's world, technology plays a crucial role in our lives. People rely on smartphones for communication, and many tasks are completed using computers. The internet, in particular, connects individuals globally. Okay, so this is a bit different. We don't have I as the subject, so it's a little bit trickier, but see if you can spot any present simple. If you can spot the verbs, that would be great. As an extra, if you can spot what the subject might be, then that's brilliant as well. Okay, so I've highlighted the verbs in green here. In today's world, technology plays. So we're talking about technology plays. People rely. Many tasks are. The internet connects. Okay, so present simple throughout this one. Okay, so we've got a task 1 example now. We've got 3 sentences and we'll just see if we can spot any present simple in them. So the first one, the chart illustrates the number of students enrolled in the university over the past decade, and that's describing trends. Second one, the bar graph shows the distribution of household expenses in a typical month. That's presenting data. And the third one, overall, the chart depicts a positive correlation between education and income levels. That's general trends there. Okay, so can you see any present simple? Can you see the base form of any verb here? Maybe you can spot the subject as well. Let's have a look. So the first one, the chart illustrates. There we go. Second one, the bar graph shows. And the third one, overall the chart depicts. Okay, so present simple can be used in task 1 of the IELTS exam as well. Let's think about present continuous now. And we'll do the same examples and the same practice. So you could be asked, what are you currently doing to improve your English skills? And you might say, right now, I am taking English classes at a language school. Additionally, I am participating in a language exchange program where I am practicing speaking with native speakers. These activities are helping me enhance my language skills and gain more confidence in daily conversations. Okay, so that's an example where I've highlighted the present continuous, and again, most of the subjects here are just I, so I've highlighted that as well. Okay, let's think about practicing this for ourselves then. So we've got a different question now. Can you describe a project or task you are currently working on? At the moment, I am working on a marketing campaign for a new product launch. I am collaborating with a team of designers and analysts to create engaging content. We are conducting market research, and I am preparing presentations for upcoming meetings. The project is requiring a lot of creativity and strategic planning. Okay, so what are we looking out for? The present continuous, we're looking for that present participle, that ing. We're looking for the verb to be. Okay, see if you can spot any examples here, and then we'll have a look through. Let's see what we've got here. So we've got examples like I am working, I am collaborating, we are conducting, I am preparing, the project is requiring. Okay, so hopefully that has made that a bit clearer with the present continuous. And you can of course use this for task 1, sentences like currently the number of tourists visiting the city centre is steadily increasing, reaching its peak during the summer months. That's just describing trends. In the latest data, the proportion of households utilising solar energy is gradually rising, reflecting a growing interest in renewable sources. That's describing a trend and presenting data. Okay, think about present continuous. Can you see it? Can you spot it here? And let's have a look. Let's see if you were right. Okay, we've got examples, and the first one is steadily increasing. That's talking about the number of tourists visiting. And the second one, the proportions of households utilizing solar energy is gradually rising. Okay, brilliant. Well, we can use a combination of the tenses as well. You could say something like, I usually study at the library, but today I am studying at home. So the blue is showing the present simple, the green is showing the present continuous. He works in the city centre, but this week he is attending a conference in another city. So the first part of these sentences is something that you usually do, a sort of habit. And then the second one is perhaps something, however, that you're doing right now that's maybe a bit different from the usual routine. While the majority of students commute to school, a rising number are using online learning platforms. Okay, well there we have it. We've looked at the present simple and the present continuous. So hopefully you can see that even though they are both present tenses, that in fact they are quite different from each other, and I think it's important to go through those differences and feel comfortable with both of those tenses. So I hope this practice has been useful for you. Lots of IELTS focus at the end there, which I think is good for any students who have an upcoming exam. And thank you so much for coming along today, and we'll see you next time.